I genuinely wasn't going to do a video on this, and by that I mean I'd filmed a video and then I thought it was shit. So I deleted it, and then I thought, oh well, who cares? Just wasted, 4 hours of my life reacting to Mr. Beast going on Oompaville's channel. Doesn't matter, move on, lesson learned. But then I saw some more stuff, so I thought, you know what, why don't I just do a video, but don't incorporate any of the video that I previously filmed because I have just binned it. So why did I initially want to make this video? Because there was a time period in which each time I went onto Reddit, there was a new thread about Mr. Beast, like every single day, and it was just becoming a bit of a joke. So here we are. Shall we start long this video out by going over the many controversies of Mr. Beast? Let's just do that. Like, comment, subscribe, check out my merch store, consume, ironic, watch, not ironic really, do watch me, notepads, hoodies, jackets, we've got everything on there, so check it out, ayclothing.tmill.com. Buy your partner a Christmas present. Recycled stainless steel, is it? Probably shouldn't say that. It's recycled anyway. Recycled everything, go check it out. So where to begin? So last year there was the Rosanna Pansino Mr. Beast hide and seek controversy, and this is all stuff that over the past month and a half when I've been seeing things about it, I've been making a note and putting it in my little notepad. So Mr. Beast was having these mounting controversies, then he went on Oompaville's channel, we'll talk about that, and then now it just seems like he's doing a PR circuit, and we'll talk about that. But let's just do a brief recap of everything so far. Rosanna Pansino and Mr. Beast hide and seek. Rosanna claims that she was higher within the top 3 of the people that won the Mr. Beast hide and seek game, and claims that he edited the video to make her go further down. And she was claiming that Mr. Beast is sexist and YouTube is a bit of a boys' club. Then there was the stuff with Ava Tyson, who was one of Mr. Beast's employees and one of his best friends of several years, predating the whole Mr. Beast stuff. Ava Tyson had some sort of weird interactions with a Twitter account called Shadman, who draws CP. Shadman drew Keemstar's 9-year-old doing things to Donald Trump. Ava constantly ats Shadman publicly, and Mr. Beast seemingly knew about it. No, I'm going to call him Jimmy. His name is Jim Bob. Ava apparently has inappropriate messages with 14-year-olds. Ava apologizes, and then Jim Bob fires her. Jimmy hires a third-party independent investigators to look into it. This was months ago. Jim Bob says he was unaware, even though Ava had Shadman's artwork on their wall when they lived together. People then started targeting Mr. Beast. Nope. Jim Bob, going through his content from years ago to find edgy humor, edgy jokes. Dogpack then comes along and does his viral video with the derivative content cop. I put that in there. I'm not bitter at all. Oh my god, I'm so bitter and look, if you saw the video about me hating everyone, you know how petty and bitter I am. And Dogpack, a channel with no subscribers, comes along, does one video about being, I worked for Mr. Beast and he's a fraud, and some of it was reaching, some of it was really reaching, and then some of it was more serious. God, it annoyed me a little bit. Not in defense of Jim Bob, I don't care about him either. But just you grind and grind and grind, and then some bloke comes along with a completely derivative and unfunny content cop, not a parody, maybe a homage, and goes mega viral. So annoying. Rosanna's right. YouTube really is a boys' club. Remember that guy who randomly did a documentary about Boogie 2988, and then people critical, who I were being a bit I'm going to have to edit this out as well. Being oh my god, you never see anything this highly produced or this good on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. And my Paul Breach documentary is right there and hasn't even hit 100k yet. This is my channel. It's about me. Who cares? Dogpack's video, which he did free, he's probably going to be in trouble now, goes mega viral about Jim Bob scripting / faking videos, promoting gambling to children, hosting illegal lotteries, his own friends and families and co-workers taking part in the challenges. There was even a live stream where Jimmy wasn't signing his own hoodies Feastables used to be healthier, but the formula, because I remember when the Feastables stuff first came out, because Jim Bob was on Joe Rogan a few years ago and I listened to it, and he said that he wanted to make a healthier alternative to chocolate bars, but the formula has changed to be the same junk. I think it's similar to Hershey's, which literally, America, what are you doing, dude? Hershey's literally tastes like sick. Have some lint. Though that master chocolate here, what a bastard. I watched the dog pack video and it was like 30 grams of sugar per chocolate bar is insane, because that's, you know, almost the same as a can of Coca-Cola. Jim Bob has refuted this, that dog pack, which, awful names. I can't believe I'm sharing a platform with these people. Not me, the big Alizee Yeezy complained about other people's names. The Feastables in question were like the giant bars, not like the sharing bars, not the smaller bars. So dog pack fudged that a little bit. There's also my personal gripe with the Mr. Beast Squid Games. He missed the point entirely of the Squid Game TV show. And I understand it's a free market. He can do what he wants. But when the point of the TV show is that the vulnerable and the working class are exploited for the entertainment of the rich, the powerful, and then you go and you make your own knockoff Squid Games, again dangling money in front of people who need the money for the entertainment of, well, children on YouTube. He kind of missed the point, and I understand why someone would go and, you know, because it's like a cool concept or whatever as a game show, but he still missed the point of the show. So what a donut. Then it's revealed that Jim Bob was in the same Discord server as Ava, being weird and inappropriate to minors. So Jimmy was maybe aware of Ava being weird and sexting in the server, sharing pictures in the shower. I don't think this came up in the Oompa video. Anyway, Beast Games with Amazon was unsafe according to some participants and whistleblowers. People were being denied medications. They were given little food, like a couple hundred calories a day to survive on. Girls apparently were being physically assaulted because like some like groups of men realized that they could like take them out of the competition. They weren't getting pushback for it, so they were just like physically assaulting women. People were being kept in unhygienic conditions. Women were apparently not being given feminine hygiene products. People were not being given clean underwear. Women allegedly were having to sit. I just got nails on a chalkboard, like, try to say this. Sit with tampons, bloody tampons inside them, which, you know, well, maybe you don't know, can give you the risk of toxic shock syndrome and dying. The whole experience was so bad that Mr. Beast's crew offered extra money and therapy sessions to make up for it. What is this, Love Island? Then a Mr. Beast employee called Chuck made a bad Twitter response to Dogpack, essentially being like, source, trust me, bro. Someone claimed that Jimmy doesn't have unions on his set so he can do unsafe work practices. But then Jimmy in the Oompaville and Theo Von interview said that they work with unions. So who knows? I don't know. Dogpack receives a cease and desist from Jimmy. The Clean Up Ocean initiative was useless because the amount of plastic that they took out of the ocean was negligible compared to how much plastic goes back into the ocean. And also, if you take it out, not to say that you shouldn't, because like there shouldn't be plastic in the ocean, but then there's the question of like, well, if it's taken out of the ocean, where is it put? In a landfill? And then is it burnt? And then does the toxicness go into the... Wow, we've really done goofed on this planet, huh? Essentially, some people were saying that it's better to put the money into like alternative, and I looked this up for like when I did my 4-hour-long video on this that I just chucked in the bins. I thought it wasn't even good. I looked this up. They as in people, scientists, have been making alternative plastics, I think using seaweed and algae. Innovators develop seaweed-based alternatives to plastic. So it would be more useful, I guess, putting money into innovations like this. Because if we're just taking out the plastic out of the ocean, but then plastic is still being produced every day and it's just going back in, it's just a vicious cycle. We just need to change completely. So, you know, people were complaining about that basically it was a nice idea, but that amount of money, whatever. Jimmy pretends to not have much profit from his videos. He was even pretending this on Theo Von. And I remember this specifically because he said it on the same Joe Rogan podcast from a few years ago. He said to Joe, because Joe Rogan was being like, you gotta have fuck you money though, right? And Jimmy was like, no, I put it all back into my videos. He has a net worth of 500 million, so I doubt that. Jimmy says that he only bought a house well, why would you do it? Well, he's stupid of money. But he wouldn't be that stupid of his money because he would have financial advisors. Or is he stupid of money because there's the crypto scams? Anyway, Jimmy sends a second cease and desist of Dogpack. Dogpack interviewed someone called Jake Weddle, who was borderline tortured for a video. There is a convicted nonce who appeared on several Jimmy's videos with the nickname Delaware. The Beast team were purging comment sections and videos, deleting words or like blacklisting words like scripted and fake. Armani Izadi was on the Mr. Beast show, a Mr. Beast show. He's a terrible person. I know who that is. He was at Tana Mojo's wedding. Rosanna tweets out that Mr. Beast is hiring private investigators to get dirt on her. I mean, he probably is. He's halfway to a billionaire, so he probably is. But the idea is just funny. Like, private investigators investigate other YouTubers. Feastables originally had a slave-free label on their website, but it got removed, causing people to think, oh, are they using child labor and slavery for harvesting cocoa? This was refuted. We'll get into it. Jimmy apologized to Jake and offered him $190,000 to make up for it. Should I get on Jimmy's bad side? And then he has to offer me $250,000 to get over it. I think so, because I ain't above that. Then there was a bloke called Ty Orr who said that Mr. Beast stole one of his video ideas. And then he created a GoFundMe of a goal of $1.7 million to make up for this, which hilarious. And then he took it down because he got backlash. So the whole thing has been a bit of a mess and a bit of a joke, as you can see. And then Jimmy recently went on to Oompaville's channel and got landed just softball after softball questions. And Oompaville started getting heat for this. And then Oompaville was like, well, I'm not a journalist. And it's like, okay, then why are you doing this video, dum-dum? No offense, Oompaville. I liked his Nicocado Avocado videos. No offense, but like, this could have been easily avoided. And I was talking about this earlier with my friend. And it's like, obviously these people are going to get Mr. Beast on their channels because it's Mr. Beast, the world's largest YouTuber. And then obviously some people, not me, find it difficult to be rude to someone when they're sitting there with you or being direct with someone. Not me. I literally yelled at someone earlier. Well, I didn't yell. I was just blunt. Then my friend was on the phone. He heard me. It was righteous indignation. I was rightfully pissed off that someone had done something incredibly stupid. I won't get into it. And I was really blunt and I told them off. And they won't do it again. So I could sit down with Mr. Beast and be like, look, why do you look so tired at the moment? You're rich. Go for a facial. I'd say that to his face. I don't care. Yeah, I was thinking about this and it's like, I can imagine if there's a channel that has 5,000 subscribers and they're making $50 a month. I can imagine, and then they get the chance to interview Mr. Beast about these controversies. I can imagine that they would maybe softball it because they know that they're going to get thousands upon thousands of dollars for the video and they're going to get tens of thousands of subscribers. And I could, I don't think that you should really like put your morals aside when it comes to money, but I can understand how people in certain situations would. It's totally understandable. It's not ideal, but then living in today's society and having to fight for every page, like living paycheck isn't ideal. I get that. But Oompaville and Theo Von was giving them softballs as well. These men are rich and successful in their own right. Yeah, they're not Mr. Beast rich, but they're still rich. So what's the big idea? Your video would have come across so better if you'd just been combative and confronted him. Confrontational. So he goes on Oompaville's channel. And even though I sat here and watched and reacted to the entire thing, I think I've been blocking it out. They don't even get to the meat of the controversies until like the latter half of the video, in which case I'm sure like a lot of people would have clicked off by then. They went through the really like the more insignificant ones first. There's something I've noticed about Mr. Beast from watching his interviews. We'll get to it in a minute. Oh, there's also all the crypto stuff that Beast has been involved with, and some people say that it's scamming, some people say he's just been a bit negligent. Whichever it is, it's just a bit silly. And Coffeezilla did a video on Mr. Beast, and then he did a video responding to the Oompaville Mr. Beast video, because like at the end of the Oompaville video, what is his real name? I forget. Oompa had to ring Mr. Beast up to be like, there's some questions that I didn't go over. Can we go over them quickly? And apparently they were Coffeezilla's questions. Like, that's how ill-equipped Oompa was for this. He didn't even get to like the crypto stuff, which is what a lot of people have issues with. And they didn't go over the things like the illegal lotteries or the Discord server or whatnot. How did I not even mention that there's another character in this charade, this fool's play, called Soggy Cereal. I wanted to say Soggy Biscuit so bad. Screw it, he's Soggy Biscuit now. There's a guy called Soggy Biscuit who made a video trying to refute Dogpack, and he did his own derivative content cop, and it was just as unfunny as Dogpack's one. And he went and he interviewed people that worked with Mr. Beast who said that they didn't like Dogpack. He gave like the vibes were off, which the vibes probably were off or could have been off. Why not? But it's the fact that they're still on, Beast's payroll. Of course, they're going to defend their boss. Oh, there's also another character called Pegasus who has a channel called More Pegasus who keeps doing videos about this and keeps being like, it's over, it's done, it's finished, it's finally over, it's finally done. Like, and he's got about 30 videos and it's hilarious. Like, no tea, no shade. That's it. Jimmy, you can tell I've not scripted this. I'm just performing at the seat of my pants right now. Jimmy was messaging commentary channels to go on their channel to talk, and he picked Oompa, but he'd spoken with Pegasus, and Pegasus relayed this in a video and was like, oh yeah, he was really nice and I really like Jimmy the person, but Jimmy the CEO I don't really like. We had a lot in common and like he seems like a nice enough guy. And all the comments were being like, dude, you're being so manipulative. And then he did another video and he was like, guys, I'm not being manipulated. And it's like, oof, I think you are. Like, I'm sure he's all right to talk to. Most people are all right to talk to briefly. Doesn't mean anything, dude. No offense. But yeah, Jimmy was messaging commentary channels to go on their channels so he could do this tell-all interview, which is a way to go about things, I'm sure. And he was messaging commentary channels Soggy Biscuit's video. Get offline. You're rich. Go on holiday. Chill out. Unplug for a bit. And in the Oompa video, he kept saying, you have to watch Soggy's video. How about you defend yourself? Why are you relying on like a third-party video? Can you not speak for yourself? So weird. Grow up. When it comes to the more serious allegations, like the child labour and slavery with his chocolate company, he has explained a few times that they were using child-free labour, but then to get a bigger exporter of cocoa, they have to, I think, export, I want to say, from West Africa, which there is a lot of child slavery. But they're working with Tony Chocolonely's like child slave-free initiatives to help directly with the farmers and pay the farmers a living wage. So then the reason that the farmers use slave labor is because they're not making enough money. So if they have a living wage, but on the basis that they don't use child slave labor, it's ultimately better for everyone. And Jimmy said on Theo Von's podcast that he wants to get the chocolate company to a much bigger level. So he's a direct competition to Hershey's, so he can sort of like reflect a mirror back to them and be like, we're doing it without child slave labor, so what's your excuses? We're exporting just as much chocolate as you. Which I think, fair enough. It just seems a bit silly that he had the label on the website and then they took the label down. Of course, at a time where people are jumping to find any sort of controversy or scandal with Mr. Beast, of course something like that isn't going to go unnoticed, and that's something where a little bit of communication with the audience, like, we are still child labour free, we're just, however you would explain everything that I just said in like a neat little paragraph on the website would have gone a long way. He also said that with the Mr. Beast games, only one person complained about not having any feminine hygiene products because she was allergic to the normal ones. They had to get the sensitive ones. It feels a bit like a he said, she said in that, because, none of us were there, so we don't really know. But other sources have said that it was several people. And then what about the girls being assaulted? And there's lots that he kind of skipped over because he was being given soft balls. Oompa's soft balls. And then CoffeeZilla noticed this. I noticed this as well. Jimmy can't ever hold his hands up and be like, yeah, we screwed up. He always has to go, yeah, like if he did do something wrong, it's always, yeah, but so many more people are worse than me. And it's like, well, yeah, sure, because you're hanging out with Logan Paul all the time. So sure, lots of people are worse than you, but it would go a long way if he could just have a little bit of humility, hold his hands up. Because when being asked about the crypto questions, He also used the excuses of being like young and dumb. And it's like, yeah, sure, lots of people are young and dumb. I was young and dumb, but you're the head of like a multi-million-dollar company. So you really can't afford to be young and dumb. And he can afford to have people smarter than him think for him, which is what Elon Musk does as well, because he's not a genius. So it's not really that good of an excuse when you're 26, 27. And there's something I've noticed too, and it comes up in the Theo Von interview, which we'll get into in a minute. He is a really bossy, entitled person in a very subtle way. He's super demanding, and I guess he's surrounded by yes men, so naturally after a while, of course you would be. But he's so demanding and assertive in a really almost subliminal way. He's constantly directing and telling people what to do. Like there were a few moments I remember he was being, which I'm not going to pick out because it's a 2-hour long video and I've forgotten where it is, but there were a few moments, like I said in my original video, don't be rude to Oompa, you've gone into his house and now you're just being rude of him. He's quite rude and entitled, and it comes up, we can go into it more in the Theo Von one because I watched it last night so it's more fresh in my memory. No, I'm not going to do proper work and refresh my memory for this channel. All these like 3-hour long videos I have to watch, absolutely not. You don't come here for me to be accurate. You come here for me to be bitchy about these annoying people. So his Theo Von interview, initially I just saw it on Instagram and I got triggered by something in the caption that said, you know, because usually when you write these things, you do it in like groups of 3. So it was like, we talked about this, that, and whether he has a future in politics. And that immediately set me off and triggered me because it was 3 a.m. and I should have been in bed. And I was essentially like, what the fuck does Mr. Beast know about politics? I like Lady Gaga's music. What the fuck does she know about cameras? It was kind of that same energy. Because what are his qualifications? And I got really ahead of myself because it annoyed me so much. Like, he has no qualifications to be a politician. He doesn't have any. I'm not saying you have to have a degree, but it helps. He doesn't know anything outside of YouTube and analytics. And I mean, that's fine because it's worked for him. He's the biggest YouTuber in the world. But politics? So I decided I'll listen to the Theo Von interview just so, and I did jump the gun a little bit because they only brought it up for like a minute or 2 at most. But my point still stands. He has no qualifications for getting involved in politics other than being rich. And politics shouldn't be a game of who can spend the most on their advertising to become the leader of whatever country. So there were a few things that I noted. They talked about things like acne. It wasn't interesting. Then I noticed, and it correlates with everything else, he's so subtly bossy and demanding. He doesn't ask nicely for anything. There were a lot of times where he would talk to something, a video that he'd done with Theo, and someone would put the video on the screen for them to watch in real time, and Beast would go, search this, do that, do this. Never saying please, never saying thank you, never even saying, oh, can you quickly? It was always do this, do that. And it really pissed me off as an English person who has to say please and thank you and cheers, yeah, bye. Who has to do it's so fucking like rude in such a subtle way. Like, I'm sure a lot of people will be like, it's not even that deep, bro. But I think it just shows that he's surrounded by people. If he says jump, he has hundreds of thousands of people saying how high and will you give me $1,000 to do it. And I feel like wielding that kind of power, the power imbalance over people, must be so unhealthy for his psyche because he's just so used to people doing what he wants when he wants all of the time. I wouldn't. I'd be like, do it yourself. Unless you say please. I feel like he needs to move out of his social circle for a bit. And if he hung out with me for like an hour, I feel like he'd get humbled so quickly. And I feel like he kind of does need that at the moment because it was just one of those things where once you notice it, and he was doing it in the Oompaville video as well, but once you notice it, you cannot unnotice it. And it's so grating. Then an hour and a half into this 2-hour long podcast, which is just a positive press tour for Jimmy, Theo Von brings up the controversies. Essentially, he says, yeah, I know you've been in like some hot water recently, but I don't know much about it, but I looked into it a little bit and none of it seemed valid. He just gave that to Jimmy, completely softball him. So you don't know much about it, but you can ascertain that none of it was valid, but you don't know much about it. But you can assert that none of the criticism was valid. So then Jimmy, of course, goes, yeah, it was all blown completely out of proportion. So annoying. And again, Theo, I get it. It's Mr. Beast. He's the biggest YouTuber in the world. But you're also Theo Von, incredibly popular, very successful. So you don't need to suck up to, or maybe it's the obsession with celebrities, the dehumanizing obsession. Who knows? And by the way, Mr. Beast like calls himself the charity guy, and like other people are like, he's the charity guy YouTube, and it's like, yeah, but that's not a good deflection. I guess to the simpler minded, it is a good deflection technique, because you can be like, well, the ends justify the means. After all, he gives away millions to charity every year. So did Jimmy Savile. So I'm not that impressed by that line of logic and reasoning. Then they finally get onto the president stuff, where Beast is like, I might when I'm older. Why? What gives you the right? What gives you, do you have any qualifications? Yeah, doing charity stuff is nice. He'll do it under the guise of helping people, but then he and Elon Musk are like, so I don't trust that. He says that he wants to achieve everything in his industry first, and then by the time he's about 50 to 60, work his way up and then maybe enter politics. Which, firstly, no, just don't do that. Secondly, unless injectable nanobots that recycle dead/old cells become really popular and you can stay cognitively young and physically young, why? Why 60? What is wrong with America? Why are all your politicians so old and cognitively declining? Is that ageist? No, it's not. We don't have nanobots that recycle blah, 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 yet. When we do, it would be ageist to be like, well, that 80-year-old isn't as like switched on as that 30-year-old. It would be ageist. But until then, we know that cognitive decline is like the reason cognitive decline has kind of skyrocketed, I think, in the like last 100 or so years, is because the average life expectancy has gone up. And we're unequipped to deal with these issues because you didn't used to be able to live like that long to get those issues in the first place, if that makes sense. So the fact that, again, I mean, if in the future we've managed to find cures to keep that neuroplasticity up, keep your grey matter nice and up, unless we found cures for that, why wait until 50 to 60? Secondly, why go into politics at all? You're not qualified. Am I gatekeeping the presidency from Mr. Beast? Yes, even though I feel like if any influencer would become the president, I have a horrible feeling it's Logan Paul. I don't support him in any capacity, but I feel like out of all of them, he's kind of low-key sociopathic enough to do it and get there and win. It's just my weird premonition for the future. I think there will be a President Paul on that seat in the White House at some point. Not my country. Not my circus. And he doesn't have the time to learn about politics because he says that he works all the time, sometimes does 16-hour days. I can believe it. Shoots do go on for a long time and he's constantly working with editors or whatever it is. I can believe that. I can believe that he's working full time. I reckon he does more hours than Elon Musk does. I can believe that. But in that case, and that's why he knows so much about analytics and YouTube and whatnot, in that case, he's going to have no time to actually learn about politics. So what? He's going to do everything and be at such a peak of success that he wants to leave YouTube and then just go straight into politics without having any education on the subject? What? Like, are you that entitled that you think you wouldn't have to put in the hard work of, like, because, you know, if he spent 10 years learning and working on like a local level or whatever, then sure. Why am I getting so annoyed? It's not because the thought of like a President Beast. Imagine Feastables and Lunchley in the White House. Him doing a last one to remain touching the White House wins $1 million challenge. Could you, look, as an English person, we get so much American, I just call it propaganda, I don't call it news, I call it propaganda at this point. We get so much American media and propaganda, and look, I thank you for some of it. I really like Parks and Rec. I like my followers who are American, but we receive so much. Like, I think I know more about American politics than I do about, I don't know anything about Spanish politics, and they're literally just across the water from us. I don't know anything about Spanish politics. So just the thought of having to be inundated with like Beast news, when President Beast has done XYZ. Then they spend a bit of time bigging up Elon Musk. I didn't write that in my script. Use your imagination, which I roll. Then Theo asked if there was a zoo in Antarctica, which that made me laugh. He was like, is there even anything there? Is there like a zoo? What do you mean? Then Theo asked, and I found this I noticed this. Theo asked if Mr. Beast would ever collaborate with Kim Jong-un. And Jimmy's response was, they probably wouldn't let me. not know the guy and his family, the Kim dynasty, are murderous dictators whose dynasty has starved their people. Not that, not, oh, I wouldn't do it for moral reasons. Just, oh, I just don't think they'd let me because they'd see it as Western propaganda. So if he could, he would. He has no morals, and you want to get into politics. Do you know what? Fine, get into politics. You've got no morals. And so that's how we've left things. He went on to Theo Von. He got such an easy ride on that podcast. Things are probably going to be fine for Mr. Beast. He's going to keep making content. The world keeps turning. Let me know what you think of all of the Mr. Beast scandals. Did I do this entire video just so I could title this video, "The Downfall of Mr. Beast Should Be Studied"? Absolutely I did. I have this ongoing private joke of myself trying to title some videos like video essays, so people think that they're going to get a really well-structured, well-rehearsed, well-edited, comprehensive essay on a topic, and instead it's me just going, her, be stupid, Oompaville dumb, ha ha ha. That's all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Am I on Mr. Beast's blacklist now? God, I hope so. He can make it up to me by sending me $500,000. I don't care. Check out my merchandise. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Follow my Facebook page as well. I made a Facebook page. I needed to go to 10,000 followers. That could be a Mr. Beast challenge video. I need to get to 10,000 followers so I can monetize Reels. I'm being transparent. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.